What's up everybody, this is Unidar aka the Frisbeer guy, and welcome to the first episode of the Bear Flight, which is sort of my spin-off from the Perfect Flight, the podcast that I'm doing with Dean Schaub. But this time we're focusing 100% on craft beer and disc golf, hoping to do an informal walk with you guys, talking about beer styles you maybe haven't tried, try to challenge your taste buds, so to speak, and maybe even give you some knowledge along the way. I think it's going to be very, very fun. I look forward to it a lot. I have to be honest, this is sort of my own thing, and I like my own things. I play well with others, but I also play well alone, if that's okay. Well, I guess it's okay, and the theme of today is Berliner Weisse. Now, this has become a very popular style in the last few years for craft breweries, and to be 100% honest, it's taking a very different road to where it used to be. So Berliner Weisse originally brewed in Berlin, Germany. It's not an exact date where they started brewing it, but around the 16th century, that's when they started brewing Berliner Weisse. Berlin Weisse wheat. So this beer is brewed about 30 to 50% of a wheat grain bill, and what really characterizes this this beer is that it's cloudy, it's sour, and it's really tasty. Or sour is not maybe the right word, it's more tart, so a nice fresh acidity in the end, and this comes from the lacto acids. Now, the lacto acids can be formed in the beer in different ways intentionally. One of them is just adding it. You can do that, it's a natural ingredient, or you can do a kettle souring, which I think is probably the best one, where you actually make a mash and then you let it sour overnight, or even over 2 nights, to create a nice sour wort that you use. And then you can also add bacteria that will create lacto acid over time, which takes, like I said, it takes time, but it can also give some very nice depth to a Berliner Weisse. Now, traditionally, you got served a Berliner Weisse with some sides of what do you call it? Sides of syrup, usually from red berries, and raspberry is the most common one. And there's also different kind of syrups used in the process, where you added a little bit to taste. What the microbreweries, the craft breweries have done now is to actually add that fruitiness with real fruit or syrup or purees directly in the beers. So up here I got the 2 Berliner Weisses that I've gotten. They're both Norwegian. This is Sour Susie from the Norwegian brewery Lervig in outside of Stavanger, one of the highest rated breweries in Norway. And the Sour Susie, well, she's not that happy as you can tell. But this is a straight up Berliner Weisse with just a little touch of lime leaves, if I don't remember incorrectly, in it, which just add to the acidity. While the other beer that I got here is Berliner Weisse from the local brewery Grünerløkka Brygghus. Really good guys over there. And in this one, they have added the raspberries right in the beer. So you're not doing it the traditional old way, where they had the syrups that you added a little bit in, just putting the raspberries straight into it. And now you see stuff made with different kind of like strawberries. You can see some of them, cherries. You can see passion fruit, more tropical fruits. And me, for my own taste, I'm not a huge fan of going all tropical on it. It becomes something very different than a Berliner Weisse. But, you know, it's just the evolvement of the beer style. One other thing that really sort of characterizes this beer style is the fact that they're usually lower alcohol beers. So around 4.5 up to 4%, sorry, 2.5 up to 4%. But then I gotta say that recently, with more craft breweries getting into stuff, it's become 5%, 5.5. So it just keeps evolving. This Sour Susie is a 4% beer, so a lower percentage beer. And you know what? We'll just crack this open and have a little taste. I'm using the Teku glasses, and maybe one day I'll do a podcast and do a live tasting of glasses, because it sounds really nerdy and really posh, but glasses make a huge difference in terms of how you experience the beer. Just looking at the color, kind of hard to see here on the video, but it's a little slight haze in there, actually quite see-through, nice white foam. Taking a little sniff. And yeah, no doubt there is sourness. There is sourness in this one. You get this sort of raw hay. There is some lime in there, not lime, but more like a lemon, I would say, like candied lemon peel in it. It's also slightly sour. Not sour. It's salty. It reminds me of not the sea, but something in that realm. Smells really good. Let's give it a taste and see what it does for us. And if you're watching this after it was recorded, we're doing this stuff live, so I hope that with time we can be a nice little bunch here, talking disc golf, drinking craft beer. Cheers to that, and let's dive in. Oh, this is just what the doctor ordered for me today. Really fresh. I would rate this slightly overstable, because if you're an ordinary pale lager drinker, this would be something different. If you're used to drinking craft beer, it's not that exciting. It's not revolutionary, but the freshness, the tartness, like I said, just the slight saltiness of it makes it something a little bit different, something maybe you haven't tried before. Really refreshing. Now of course it's raining outside in the middle of the winter, but seeing this on the porch with 20 degrees Celsius just after a round, yes, count me in. Definitely something different. If you're used to drinking pale lagers, as I said. But really well made stuff. This is, I guess this is as commercial as you can get at Berliner Weisse, because it's not offensive. You don't taste it and go like, oh man, who violated my taste palates. This is just a well brewed beer. Now this is the beer talk, and I figured we need to hook this up with disc golf, and it became pretty obvious for me a couple of months ago that Berliner Weisse, who has a long history but has been sort of away from the spotlight for so long, now is back. What does this remind me of? Yeah, of course it does. It reminds me of Discraft. Now, the world leader in disc sport has been the world leader in disc sport mainly in Ultimate. Now, please follow me on this one. Discraft started in 1979, so they have been along for a long time. They have made premium plastics before anyone else did it. I mean, just have a look at what they came out a few years ago, the Jawbreaker plastic, which in my mind is the best baseline plastic on the market. The durability of it is just almost without comparison to any other manufacturer. Still, they managed to be away. Yeah, of course, there were players playing with Discraft, but just looking at Innova, Latitude, Dynamic Discs, they just got so much more attention. Even if you had people like Nate Dawes and Michael Johansson on the team, like Discraft, yeah, you saw them on some lead cars, but you didn't really think about it. It wasn't in front of your mind when you thought about the huge disc golf manufacturers. Their Ultrastar, I believe, is the official disc of the American Ultimate League, so that's where they got a lot of their turnover. But Discraft, not so much. Then they went ahead and they did a big thing back in 2016, I guess, when they snatched up Valerie Dawes, the wife of Nate. And then, before this season started, they got the GOAT, the GOAT, Paul Macbeth on their team, just spinning everything around, switching up the teams, and then they added Paul Uleberry to the mix as well. Man, they've been on a roll. So, to me, the link between Berliner Weisse and Discraft is the fact that it's always been there, but it wasn't that popular until someone picked it up. For the Berliner Weisse, it was, I believe, Dogfish Head was one of the first one in the US to pick up Berliner Weisse, and now that that Paul Macbeth is in a Discraft house, I feel it's fairly natural that that is a good comparison between the two. Now that opinion might be slightly overstable, but I'll I won't go into depth with that. And now just look at what we're doing in craft beer. We're taking a style like this and we're mixing it up, putting spices, putting fruits and whatnot in old beer styles. And I will argue that Discraft is doing the same thing, getting a huge profile like Paul Macbeth, getting Paul Uleberry, having young guns like Austin Turner. I want to say Austin Power, I don't know why, but they're on that team and they're getting the full foil discs, which just look like pieces of art, in my opinion. They're partnering up with Lucasfilm for the Star Wars licensed disc. They're switching it up. They're trying to think something new, and I think if Discraft keeps on doing what they are doing with innovating, trying to push things into a new direction and giving it some more attention, I think Discraft will become the new Berliner Weisse, I guess, the new style in a lot of bags, not only this season but in the years to come. So good on Discraft for doing a good decision there, in my opinion at least. This is tasty stuff, and I felt it was also a good connection talking about craft beer and Discraft, because in Discraft, well, there is a few world champions, and you have Valerie Dawes and you have Nate Dawes, arguably two of the best players of all time, and also huge craft beer enthusiasts. You won't see them that much on the course in 2018 because they've been working so hard in starting Bevel Brewing Company in Bend, Oregon. Fantastic place, by the way. I hope to get back there within not too long. So I gotta give a shout out to Underground Interviews on YouTube, which is Discraft Underground's team. Wes and Patrick there hosted an episode with Nate and Valerie, just talking about Bevel. So if you have the chance, I can highly recommend that you check that out, because it's a really good listen, and to me they're sort of personify what I enjoy as well, Discraft and craft beer. So I mean, what's not to love, what's not to like? So yeah, there you have it. It's really tasty stuff. Now I know that Berliner Weisse might not, or it might be one of your regular beers in your fridge, I don't know, but I want to try to push you to try something new, and Berliner Weisse is a good way to start trying the sour beer category. Now there is a bunch of different beer styles in the sour beer category, including Lambic, Flemish Red, Goose, there is Gauze, there is plenty. But Berliner Weisse is a fairly safe, call it neutral way to start your journey into craft beer and the sour beer department of things. So yeah, what I'll do now for the podcast, I will stop the recording. Just want to thank you for following along, and for you guys following live, I will stay around for a little bit longer. I want to thank you too for watching. I'll be doing this monthly, I think. Gotta give a shout out to Dean Schaub, who is the host of The Perfect Flight with me, who is now unfortunately sick, but we will be doing going back to monthly episodes at least there as well. So you will be getting this sort of spin-off as well once a month, because, well, how can you not talk about craft beer and disc golf? It's just a natural fit. I'll quote. I talked about Dogfish Head and the head brewer, the owner, Sam Calione. I believe it's his quote where he said that he loves the industry of craft beer because it's 99% asshole free. I will say the very same thing regarding disc golf as well. So yeah, I'll let those be the final words for you podcast people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember that life is too short to drink craft. No, life is too short to drink bad beers. There you have it. Have a good one.